Crunch time, coming up big when it counts.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Crunch Time, where we come up big in the clutch. I'm Dom with your boy Sauce, Luke, and Anthony. What's going on, gentlemen?
How are we,
going on?
Doma?
How we
It's
doing, Dom?
New pod format crunch time with the boys. Anthony, how are you, brother?
I'm good. Fresh coming off a 2006 unboxing. I'm a happy boy.
Massive, huge pull. Let's just
Huge pull. We'll get into that.
We'll
We'll get into that.
it in a bit. Luke, how are we, mates?
Good sauce, you?
I'm good, brother. Good. Did you happen to
Thank
catch the Champions League this morning?
I did. Big PSG win, which was good.
Massive.
Over. I like seeing Barcelona lose.
I think that you're not the only one on that front. That's for sure.
Yep.
I might be another one of those people. So,
Yeah.
so legitimately, ladies and gents, listening and or viewing on YouTube, the premise of this podcast is we're getting together content creators in Australia, and we're here to talk to you about all types of sports trading cards and cards in general, whether it be also Marvel, Pokemon. We're going to answer all those questions. It is all hobby related. We will obviously mix in some sport and other things that are happening as well. But Anthony and Luke know a lot about Marvel, UFC, and soccer, as well as NBA. So it just marries up perfectly with myself and Saucy. So we'll get straight into it. We're going to start off with soccer cards, and we're going to start off with Kylian Mbappe after this morning's performance. I'll handball over to you three, and we'll get some discussion going there. Thoughts on buy, sell, hold, or what's the go?
You may lead off with this.
Go for it, Andy.
Go for it.
The time to buy was yesterday. It's unfortunate. Yesterday we were talking about it. I was looking at PSA 9 sticker. It went for like 1,500. That'll easily do 2K plus now. I know Mbappe Prism World Cup where they were going for like 650, 700 maybe a week ago, maybe 800 a week ago, and now they've a couple sold at 1050 USD. So we're definitely seeing hype, which is good. It's good to see when a player comes up big, the market follows. So it's good to see. Now, I don't know about buying today. I think today it's too reactionary. You're going in and you're buying up something that's, a lot of emotion in it. But later this week, if we can see some prices start to dip a little bit from the peaks, might be start. It was always a time to make a play on Mbappe. Let's be real. He's the boy wonder. He's right there with the best in the world. And you can tell there's going to be a few Ballon d'Ors for him. He's a special player. And you should invest. Why not have a couple of Mbappes just to see where that goes in a couple of years? Lukey, what do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I probably wouldn't be buying right now. I feel like it might be a bit of like a FOMO move if you do. In terms of his Prism, I know people don't like buying his 2018 Prism just because they say it's overproduced compared to other sports and stuff. I guess it's not, but we saw a little bit of a run up in December. Prices were pretty low on him because remember after the Champions League where they lost last season, prices for soccer, especially Prism, fell off a fair bit. We saw a little bit of, I think December, like you were saying yesterday, or like December-ish would have been the time to buy because we saw that run up in, I think it was January. Remember? Did you guys see that where soccer started? Prism started to go up.
Everyone was posting about it. Yeah. It got back up to 950 from 675 to 950.
Yeah, and then after that, we saw a little bit of a drop in the last few weeks, and then this happened today, and see it really moving now. We saw Saucy posted sent us something today about the BGS 95. What did it go for?
Yeah, BGS 95. So obviously before today's Champions League tie, you could have bought a BGS 9.5 for about 300, 350 USD for the Prism World Cup card, Mbappe. But Post the game, I had a look and checked up on 130 Point, the latest sales, and there was a few sales at $600. So instantly, people are gobbling up,
Yeah.
the hype that was his hat trick today. And then these are the sort of the situations that you're faced with when you're investing emotionally in something, and that's probably an irrational decision. You for that card to now keep going up more. Mbappe has to have more success, win the next round, make it to the final. Potentially, maybe it runs up even more and win the final. Because we've seen what happens when they don't win the final, or what happened when they didn't win the final last season, where it just like literally fell off a cliff and just went to pretty much yearly lows at that point. Um, so yeah, it's just look Mbappe himself. I think he's a tremendous talent. He's going to be the next generation of player that I think everyone's touting him to be. But just be more wiser with when you purchase, because you could save yourself quite a bit of money if you don't jump in right around, obviously fresh off a hat trick.
Here's my hot take. Here's honestly my hot take. The big run up in December or January, it got up to what, 950, and people were cashing out. I'm talking
they
like
were.
big boys are trying to like get out of their positions on Mbappe, and then it dropped back down. I think a lot of today is undereducated buyers, and they're jumping in. And they're like, you know what, I want Mbappe, and rightfully so. We saw it with Luka in the playoffs. I think they're cashing in. I mean, some people are cashing out on Mbappe because they know it's better to hold, either your silver prisms or your colored Mbappe. That's where like the exponential growth comes.
I think people. Sorry, bro, keep going.
Go on.
I was going to say, I think people might, because basketball's in a bit of a lull at the moment during the season. I wonder if people are trying to diversify by going into soccer and maybe doing something different.
A lot of
Thoughts?
the time, a lot of the time as well is because new collectors are coming in, and because there is that dip and that lull, as you're saying, they get a bit trigger happy with their purchases. So they're like, oh, now I'll go jump into soccer, or I'll jump into Pokemon because that's the hot thing, or baseball, or NFL because it's off season. Who do I buy? And that's where like that education, like you're saying, Ant, as well. It's like they don't know how to diversify. Like some of the advice I give personally is probably just try and stick to one or two genres in the hobby. Don't try and diversify
too much.
Across 5 different platforms, really, in terms of like soccer, basketball, NFL, Pokemon, and Marvel, for example. Like stick to what you know in terms of like educate yourself on that, and then once you're a bit experienced, you can move on. I was lucky enough because I had the great man over there, Saucy, giving me tips and stuff. So, but that's the whole thing, and that's the whole thing about having content creators and going there and looking at trends and seeing market movers. Well, in terms of that though, Mbappe as a player, let's look at it holistically because he's what, 21 years of age?
21, 22. 21, 22.
He's 2-time top goal scorer. He's 1-time Footballer of the Year, 4-time French champion, 2-time French League Cup winner, 3-time French Super Cup winner, 1-time Player of the Year, 2-time French Cup winner.
The wrap up. Look at this
European
wrap up.
under 19 champion.
It's disgusting.
And then
the big one.
And then
the big one.
The big one, which is leading into the next question, obviously, is his World Cup in 2018. So the question to everyone in here is, if you are going to invest in him when the time is right, what card do you invest in? Is it his tops? Is it his first?
I've been heavy on. I got a strong opinion on this.
Yeah,
I think Lukey disagrees with me as well. But
nice, I like it.
Honestly, even myself, the COVID product was Luka Prism and Mbappe Prism. They're the two ones that everyone saw. They've bought. It's like probably I would love to see what's the most traded by number of cards. What's the most traded? I would say Luka has to be in there and Mbappe has to be in there. Like in terms of soccer, it has to be number one. In terms of turnover.
For soccer, I'd say one. For soccer, I'd probably say one,
Yeah. So my worry is that with 5 million cards sitting at PSA, what percentage of that is Mbappe-based Prism? Because you're almost, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but you pretty much are guaranteed out of a hobby box. You're guaranteed an Mbappe prism. And I've said this before. I was buying cello packs of World Cup prism for $10 in March, and then they gradually grew up. And I didn't get an Mbappe out of the 3 that I got, and obviously I'm pissed off about that. But people are pulling Mbappes and shipping them to PSA, and we know that PSA is late, and you know that they're gonna start coming back. That's why I think the Topps Chrome 2017 is the one. If you ever look at Messi and Ronaldo, they're mega cracks. The ones that got the big dollar values, they're in their club kits. They're in their rookie club kits. Now I know, obviously, we've got Mbappe has Saucy's favorite card in the whole hobby, the sticker. But you have to consider that's his first real card. First big brand card, Topps Chrome. I'm looking to that. And the worst part is a BGS 9.5 of that, or a PSA 9 of that, was $250 USD yesterday. You know what I mean? And now, I don't even know, probably at least 600. I would easily see it at 600. So what are your thoughts, Luke?
So as in the Topps Chrome over the World Cup prism?
Yeah. Or was it just general? Was it just any Mbappe?
Any Mbappe.
Any Mbappe. I like first World Cup as a thing in the hobby going forward. Like we've seen it with Ronaldo, Messi, everyone really, even some of the other guys, Henry and stuff like that. I feel like the first World Cup is a thing, and I think it'll continue to rise as the more vintage stuff does. Look at what 2006 World Cup Ronaldo's and Messi's are doing now, like I just said. Whereas, with Mbappe, it's a bit different because it's prism and it's a little bit different in that sense. But what are the pop numbers on the Topps Chrome, by the way? I haven't checked recently, to be honest.
I thought it was a couple hundred.
9 and 10.
So just for the record, so there was a Topps Chrome that sold that I believe this would have been earlier today for the card that Anthony was talking about for 350. And there was also another sale which was around about the same time. So all these sales are around about the preceding time after the Champions League game. We had there's been a few sales. So it was 300, 320. These are all best offers. 325, 350 best offer, and then now currently there's one on auction that's at 405 and ends tomorrow.
405, did you say?
Yeah, it's currently at 405. Now, look, I'm a bit suspect on some of the bidding because there's a guy here who's literally got one feedback bidden a bit, but I still think it might be a legitimate. It could be.
Yeah, but Saucy, look at so I know for a fact I was bidding on a refractor PSA 9 around the 670 mark. One just sold 1575 PSA 9. That's three times your money in the space of a week. This is 1 week ago. I've got it on my eBay.
I got another question, and this is gonna go to, I don't know. You can follow Anthony at Anthony Collects, and then Luke at @mask_sportscards. But Anthony opened 06 World Cup soccer last night and 2010 World Cup soccer.
That was huge.
Now, before we actually get into the fallout from that, this is my question to you. Going forward, based on accomplishments for Messi and Ronaldo, when it comes to the card world, as you said, Luke, World Cup cards are the most popular. Do you see where I'm going with this question? Neither of those two guys have ever won a World Cup, where Mbappe has won a World Cup. And his first World Cup card happens to be the World Cup that he won, as well as being his first World Cup card. So what are your thoughts when it's all said and done? Now we're projecting a bit. But
that's the X factor.
Yeah, the investment for Mbappe now, when it comes to discussion is, if he keeps on going on this trajectory, potentially wins a few Ballon d'Ors, wins a couple Champions Leagues. He's got the one thing those two guys don't have. So what happens when it's all said and done, potentially for this kid? And he's 21.
He's 22 years old.
22.
But you make a good point, and that's just where I bring it back to. Like, you have a look at some of the previous guys, and as Luke said, and their first World Cup either sticker or card, whatever it may be, and that holds value now at the point where they're towards the back end of the career or they're retired. It actually has value. So I just don't see how that World Cup, that Prison World Cup card doesn't. And then that's essentially like the first sort of main World Cup guy that you'd want to be collecting. In as the sort of hobby transitions more from stickers to cards. Um, stickers is still going to be like the OG thing with people in the soccer collecting hobby because stickers is what came around first. But as I've spoken to Anthony previously, on another podcast on the Double Coverage Network, was now that there's cards, I think people are going to take the preference to the cards than the stickers, and the stickers are going to be much more of a secondary thing. But I'm still of the opinion that for a reasonable price, something that's not too expensive, you literally can go pick up a raw one for I think $50, which is, as I say, my favorite Monaco version, which is the sticker, because I still think his original first release was a sticker. But it's just tough to say what's going to carry more value long term. I definitely think it could be the card as the market transitions more towards that might be the case. But I think for a value play still, if you still want to buy it, I'm looking at last solds on it. It's still selling for $50. I mean, BGS 9s are selling for 122. Just take that into perspective. At one point when these stickers were well up in 2020, I bought one for $100 worth. And then I ended up getting another one for $50. So now my average buy on this sticker is 75. Probably one looks pretty good for grading, so I'll probably grade one. But I'm talking about the 2017 Topps UEFA Champions League sticker. So it's Mbappe's first solo sticker where he's not with another teammate. Like his Panini Foot 2016 Panini Foot sticker with Quarantine G. So yeah, I think if you still want to buy Mbappe today, you can. You just don't. I wouldn't be buying into the major cards because it seems like they've taken a significant jump, as we've seen.
I'll close with this on this topic. I wouldn't buy Mbappe today, but if someone offered me a Kaboom Mbappe at a ridiculous price, I obviously have to compare it to comps, but that's the card. That's gonna be a big boy card. I can see that going over 10. But just because there's so little of them, and it's Mbappe in the PSG kit. I think it's 2018, but it is a beautiful card. Arguably his nicest looking card, and there's so little of them. You know what I mean? You have to factor in 10 years from now, we're going to be talking about people that solely grew up with Mbappe. That's their Ronaldo and Messi. And then as they transcend, they get more money, when they're older, 30, whenever they come into wealth and they want to buy up a collection of Mbappes, that's going to be one of the big cards that's going to be hard to get. So I'll close on that.
It's going to be a staple point of any Mbappe collection. So you have that. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, vintage cards are also on the rise, as we've seen. Now, a good place to get these vintage cards are in World Cup products. So, boys, some of the best vintage cards you can get are from these products. Give us a bit of an insight into 06 World Cup. Mainly 06 World Cup. Maybe even go into 02 World Cup as well, if you can.
You know what? I'm looking at that now. 02. I haven't done enough research to give advice on it yet. The cards obviously aren't as sought out after market-wise compared to 06 and 2010. 2010s are even big. 2010s, you can pick up a box at under a grand or around a grand Australian, which is about 750, 800, probably gone up a bit now, like 900, 1,000 US. And those cards are beautiful. Like yesterday, I was talking about it with my mate Steven, who was doing the sleeving yesterday.
Sleeving.
Steven. I was talking about it with him after we wrapped up and packed everything up. The 2010 box was more enjoyable. Maybe because the 2006 we were stressed out and we were like, oh, we're gonna get the Messi, and we waited till right at the end. 2010 cards are beautiful. You've got cards that are
Here we go.
closer in age. I'll start off slow.
So
Okay,
this is
Robin
Anthony's showing
metallized.
some cards. So this is for video viewers on YouTube. But Iron Robin, this is 2010. So go ahead, Ant.
I didn't even know
metal,
this was
the
so
metal
good.
looks so good as well. Over
Yeah.
acetate. Me personally, I think metal over acetate for me.
Yeah, I think there you got Frank Ribery.
It's nice.
See, like that card, like I haven't seen one Frank Ribery card sold on since my time during the hobby.
Did you end up
SCN.
getting? Sorry, man. Did you end up getting a definitive answer on the if it's an indent or a part of the card?
Nah. Everyone that I've asked said it's part of the card.
Yeah,
The
that's
PSA
right,
10
yeah.
that sold, it's clearly on the
It's on there,
on
yeah.
the thing.
Because when I was
I'll
looking,
show you what
when
I'm talking about.
When I was looking at it, when it first came out, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I don't know, but that one looks like a bit of an
So
indent." But then I looked at some of the other ones, I was like, "Oh, yeah, actually, I think it's part of the card."
So if anyone was in there watching it last night, Anthony opened 2010 World Cup soccer, and I'll tell you what, he not only hit one of the two, he hit two of the two. So there it is, Cristiano Ronaldo.
It's a beautiful card. Honestly, I didn't even consider how nice and looking here. But the blemish we're talking about right there. I don't know if it picks up on
Yeah.
the screen.
Yeah, you can see it.
On the 20, apart from that, it's flawless. Apart from that, the card is very, very, very good condition. And the seller actually was saying that he's had these boxes for like 15 years or something like that. You know what I mean? And they were sealed properly. They were kept well kept. And thank God, like the 2006 box, they're prone to getting like little dings and that. That's the knock on ripping them. And then we've got this boy as well. I'm just showing off at this point.
Especially the
Okay.
06. The 06 looked really good when you were opening it and all the cards and stuff.
It
Everything
was
was
really
clean.
good
He was
condition.
hyped. You
Yeah.
were hyped to say the least, weren't you? When you
I don't
Let me
blame
tell
you.
you, I was stressed. By pack
I would-
like 15, where is my Messi and Ronaldo? What's
I
going
would
on
have
here?
been. I would have been shaking in that. Shaking.
Yeah. I was saying I was being as transparent. I don't like breaking. Like I think
Yeah.
breakers have, and it's not said enough how stressful that can be. You're dealing with someone else's cards that are like potentially worth tens of thousands of dollars. I'm sitting there trying to open a pack for myself, and I'm stressing. That's disgusting. But the hitter last night, I won't harbour on about it, but the hitter last night.
There it is.
there it is.
Messi
2006
2006.
World Cup, Lionel Messi. I'll
It's-
tell you what, if you pulled the Ronaldo and the Messi from the 06 one, I was already hyped for you. Who knows? I reckon everyone in the live would have just jumped through their roofs.
Yeah, and shout out to everyone that was in that live, like you boys, and there were a few others. There's quite a few others that were messaging me and saying like that was awesome, that was good to be part of. Like everyone enjoyed it because I think it's different when you're breaking for other people and you're making money off it. It's like he's just he's breaking, but when you're breaking for yourself and you can tell, like I'm stressed, I'm showing it there. I'm stressed. You're opening a $3,000 box, and I think people will empathize with that, and they're like, let's get behind it. It was good. It was a good night.
Yeah,
was
massive,
good.
massive,
That was sick.
mate.
That was
For
sick.
the $3,000 box cracked open and live on his IG. It was fantastic, mate.
It was very good. Now, the last thing before we do move on, card sets for World Cup players. What are your thoughts on collecting players, star players that won the World Cup in that year of the product?
Go get on the question. Sorry.
So, collecting players like star players, like your Mbappe, like in 2018, or R9 in 2002,
Yep.
that won the World Cup in that product. So if it's an 02 product, you collect the Brazilian players, 06
Oh, the whole team. The whole
No,
team.
not the whole team. It could
Oh,
be
just
even,
the stars.
key
right.
players.
Yeah. Okay.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you reckon that would hold value next to their rookie, potentially as their second best card? No matter what other card there is out there, it would go their rookie, then their World Cup card because they won it in that year.
I'd say rookie, first World Cup, and then if they won. That's just my sort of. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think
Like
from
that-
my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but the soccer, community, they hold the first World Cup card, or sticker, whatever it may be, as regarded as sort of as their second card if they do make it to World Cup.
That's how I see it. I see it as like almost as a second rookie. Yeah. Me personally, yeah. What do you think, Anth? Do you see it in the same light?
I think rookie obviously first, club rookie first, and then I'd say World Cup. It's interesting that you mentioned that because I've got someone that follows me and I speak to quite a few times. It's Zero Cards.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
You know
good dude.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Good guy.
And he posted up the other day. He's an Italian collector. I've sold him a few like Barellas and stuff like that.
See the set he got the other day?
He posted up that exact thing. 2006 World Cup. Italian set, the whole thing.
Well. Yeah.
And he bought it for $20 as well. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's got merit to it because if you think about it, that would look, if we're going on art and if we're going on cards as art, which I 100% agree with, you have a frame, and this is where my brain goes to. 2002, you've got all Brazilian cards. Then you got 2006, all Italian cards. And then you layer it like that, and you keep that as a collectible item. That's, now we're talking like, what do you want to use your cards as? You want to use them as art, or you want to collect them?
Funnily enough, about that 06 set, especially for Italy, it's just funny the fact that I don't know if people hold defenders in high regard, but Maldini and Nesta, I'm pretty sure, are on the checklist, and Cannavaro. They are three of the best players to ever play the game.
Yeah.
So you're potentially investing in them, and then you got Del Piero and Totti and Pirlo.
It's an awesome set.
So
if you have that, that's sick.
You think about it that way, a lot of those players go down as all-time greats, but those three plus Buffon, so those three of them defenders, one a goalkeeper.
I know for a fact Totti is, I've got him right here, but Totti is hollow, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's
and you got to think, Totti in that World Cup was nutty. Like it was the best team in the world.
BG's 9.5 for sale right now, $300 Australian. Good buy? Yes or no?
For who?
But the thing is,
for Totti.
What's a raw worth?
You know what? That's not a bad buy at all.
I'll
tell you why.
And a 9.5, yeah.
Because you send it into PSA and you get a 10. That's why it's a good buy.
That was Totti's. That's not his first World Cup. Nah.
No.
I think,
he had
Totti's
one
been around
before
since
that.
1920, mate.
No, that's Maldini, mate.
They've all been around.
He was there at the invention of football.
Totti
has Azura card just before he posted, like the week before. I was like, man, I was actually thinking about the 06 World Cup in Italy, how they won it and stuff. I'm like, oh, I reckon that's set. Like, if you had that whole team on a thing, that'd be sick.
100%.
And then he had it. I was like, oh, that's sick. Yeah.
You want to know what's sick? 2006 Totti has only ever been 2 graded at PSA. Both of them came back 10s. And you're telling, think about that. You just need one Italian to come in and be like, you know what? I'm a wealthy Italian. I live on a boat. I've got millions of dollars to spend. Hey, I want to buy the whole Italian set from what I want. And he sees it for 300. If you put it up for 3,000, he's like, that's the only one. Oh, what am I going to do? Not buy it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
I reckon there's some of those guys, like vintage players and like guys that won World Cups or were in World Cups, or it's just the value is there and it's so underappreciated. We're talking about guys that will hold the test of time. In 100, you think about it this way, in 100 years' time, you'd still say Totti is up there as one of the best players to play in 100 years' time. Because you compare a lot of these old vintage guys to today's guys, and you just don't hold them in the same regard. as a Zidane or an Henri or a Beckham. They don't like you got the very few. You got your Neymars, Haaland, who's becoming something. He's not there yet. I know he's a goal scoring machine.
Like he's a maybe.
Yeah, but then you got Mbappe is the other one.
Yeah.
So
The thing
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying that's like 3 guys I can name. There's probably a couple others, but it's like Fati, but he hasn't accomplished anything yet.
Nothing.
No,
Yeah.
he's done nothing.
Talking about a World Cup winner, Totti against Fati, who he's been injured for the last 6 months.
And this is where I bring it back to the same sentiment that I look at basketball when I buy basketball guys. You know, why am I going to keep buying these unproven rookies when I can go buy a nice card of a legend? It's the same theory we're talking about with this Totti card. You know, that Totti card from a World Cup where they actually won, you can go buy that card of a legend who solidified his place in soccer history and has won a World Cup. Or you could go buy a Fati card that could quite easily in a few years literally be nothing. Whereas you buy the Totti card, you already know the guy that and the career he's already had. So even though it's not a rookie card, but it's his World Cup winning card, it's a very affordable card. Why at some point in time doesn't this, have value to a collector? That, as you said, is a crazy Italian that, watched them win the World Cup. So I just think, looking at it in that perspective, I think there's opportunity, in some of these sets that people aren't looking at yet.
I feel like our market here, and it's sort of on topic but sort of off, I feel like the soccer market are a lot more collectors than what there is like your flippers and stuff like that compared to like basketball, for example. I'm talking like very much, from what I see, very much here in Australia, and then the two sports. I feel like if someone buys that Totti, they're not going to sell it in the next week. Whereas if people are buying, some people are buying Kobe's right now to sell next week.
Totti has to be
next
a long
week,
play if you're looking at it like that. You're buying that Totti. You can't expect to be buying Totti and then obviously he's not playing, he's retired and trying to flip that in 2 weeks. Like, you're buying that Totti to sit on it for multiple years, and at some point when the markets comes back around, I don't know how it would go up, but
sort of that's sort of my point. Like, I feel like people for soccer buy it for the meaning, like more of a collectible item rather than say an asset like people do with basketball.
Yeah,
that's sort of what how I view it for soccer. That's what I see personally, rather than people.
It's a discussion for another pod, but and we will get to it. But I really do think if you're buying to make money, which a lot of the time that's what I'm trying to do. It's probably like 10 cards that I want for a PC, and then as the money, as I keep flipping, keep turning things over, I'll expand that to a larger and more expensive PC. But draw up the next 12 months, 24 months, and think how much money is going to come into this hobby, and then look at your sets. Look at 2006. What are the boxes worth? And why is a Ronaldo $11,000, but a Totti who won it $300? Factor that in. Think about if money comes in. Like I said, if an Italian comes in and he wants that. If someone from France wants a Thierry Henry, or a Zidane, it's a beautiful card, Zidane. Like, you got to think ahead of the wave. And that ties right back in with the Mbappe buying now. Think ahead of the wave. Don't come in and try and buy and emotionally like, let's buy Mbappe today. Go 6 months ahead and say, Italian documentary on the 2006 World Cup comes out, with footage of Zidane backstage after he just got sent off for headbutting. Who did he headbutt?
Materazzi.
That's it. That footage comes out, and everyone for a week is doing what Sauce is doing right now. Everyone for a week is just, that's it. That's the TikTok of the week. Think about what that does to a market.
100%. 100%.
Just think.
It's all,
don't go buying Mbappe's on the day he scores a hat-trick. Think a little bit before.
Yeah, sometimes it's that FOMO buy or that emotional buy, and that's the thing that actually hurts the collector or the flipper to obviously make some kitty to put towards another card. Like, they're like, oh yeah, cool, this is going to go up 2x in the next month, and then it drops $300, and you're like, oh, that's when you are left holding the bag, and then you got to wait and wait and wait. So
I think we saw a bit of that today, to be honest, with Mbappe.
100%.
I feel like we did.
But I agree with you. For another pod, we will discuss about the buying and selling of soccer cards. But we will move on. Great discussion, boys. We're going to move into a topic that is rarely discussed, but it's now becoming very discussed. And the great man down here, Anthony, was actually onto this before absolutely anybody, and I mean anybody. I know I'm going to give him a shout out.
Not anybody. Hold on.
Anybody
I
that
will
I
let-
see,
Yes. Okay. Yes. But there
99% of the people.
I'd say it'd be a close 99.9. There was one.
Yeah. But
okay, but did that person have? Does that person
account.
have like 5,000 followers? And
No, but he's under the radar. He's a great follow. I'd say
well, you gotta-
minty fresh cards.
Oh yeah,
He's,
okay.
It's your fresh cards.
yeah, give him a shout out.
he was on Card Talk way back, but he
Yeah.
and he mentioned it.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
open to everyone to do. As
Yeah.
soon as he said it, though, I'm like, hold on, let me digest this, and let's see what this is. I did my research myself. So he said that, and I took that and did run with it.
And funny enough, Ant, you remember me messaging you and asking you about it, which is the set, and you telling me. And I looked it up at the time. I was like, oh, you could buy the whole set, obviously without the hollows. I think it was 100 USD at the time when I looked it up. I think now today the whole set minus the hollows is like 300 plus or something like that. So I mean, even then, even though I was late to the party, I still had the opportunity to cop and get a set of cards at 100, whole set. Actually, the funny thing is, I was telling my brother he's more into the Marvel. He loves his comics. He collects comics, right? And I was telling him, buy these Marvel cards, like buy these Marvel. It's gonna be the next thing. And I was like, at the time, I was investing my money into Kobe. Same sentiment like Dom said before. Like, don't if you don't really know, then don't buy if you haven't researched thoroughly. So that was the reason. That was the sort of mentality I took, because it was at the same time that I was literally buying, BGS. I sent a screenshot today. BGS 8.5 top paper Kobe's rookies for 200 USD. So, and look, I don't look like a fool, and I don't feel like a fool, because that card today is now worth 800 USD. So I 4x my money on the
That's right.
investments that I made.
And money invested is smart money.
That's
I always
right.
say
So
that.
I don't feel bad that I missed the boat on the Marvel, but it was an opportunity that was put out there, by yourself, and hopefully a few people tailed you.
I went the Gary V route. I was dishing that stuff for free. I was telling people, go buy it. I was doing it for a month, at least a month before any traction. Like, they sat at $300 USD a box, and I would buy one. And then
Jesus.
no. You want to know when it gets sick? I messaged the guy on. I found his username on eBay and then messaged on Instagram, and I bought full sets at 25 USD a pop. And I bought 4 of them. Think about that.
What the fuck?
Think about that. Full
That's
sets.
Saucy's bread and butter. That's his money for jam.
Hey, a set at 100, I was saying was a buy. So for 25,
It was always
25, you buy every card he has.
I can't even. You think about it. You can't grade a card for $25. Like, think.
100%. I
Oh,
don't know if we've lost him.
We've lost him.
Oh no, the Marvel magician.
he's
Oh,
done.
Oh no.
What's happened to him?
No, hold on. I'm back.
he's
I'm back.
he's back.
He's back, he's back,
I don't know what
he's
happened there. What I was saying was, I bought those full sets. I bought a few boxes. I kept them sealed, and you don't know what it's like to have those sitting, in your room, and like, I would rip these. But then when the cards started coming, and I settled down a bit, I hid them away. I bought the 91 set, which also quadrupled 5x. The 1991 set is a prettier set. That's the thing. Like, people were so quick to jump on that 1990 set, the first set, but I truly believe that the 1991 is prettier.
How many? Sorry, man. Just as a question, I don't know basically anything about Marvel cards. Pokemon Marvel, not really for me. That's why I don't sort of put my money into that sort of stuff, just because I don't know a lot about it. I haven't done enough research. How many cards are in the set? Because I heard it's a very big set. Is that right?
So you got 162 cards.
Yeah.
One checklist card that makes up 163, and then 5 hollows.
Okay.
And he's like, this is coming from hours of research, but there are actually tins made, and I think tins are numbered to 4,000, and
Okay.
each tin comes with a full set.
Oh, right. Okay.
And the 5 hollows, and those got. I'm not even kidding. Those were going for 50 USD.
Oh,
But I didn't know
God.
this until way later, until they're about 300-400, and I didn't buy
Yeah.
any.
In
But
the tin
this
as
is
well, that would have been nice.
it
Just
would
as a
have been
collector, as a collector
silly
thing.
The
mistake.
91 Marvel
Yeah.
set, the box, sealed box, is currently selling for $475. 91
How much?
Marvel set.
475.
Yeah, $475 for a box.
And that was a 50 USD
Yeah, I was gonna
box
say, I feel
when I
like
bought it.
that was probably a sub $100 box.
Like literally 50 USD I bought it for, 90 Australian or whatever it was.
Do you,
Like-
do you reckon it keeps going from here, or do you think this is sort
No.
of peak?
Now this
No?
is the most important thing, and I've been trying to say this. Seal boxes of 1990 might keep going up a little bit, but you've seen them dip back down. As these boxes get opened, right? Because the whole premise of why they're so expensive and why they're worth so much is that there's such low pop of these cards graded. And the graded cards were selling for, a couple hundred, up to 1,000. The hollows sell for a couple thousand because they're very hard to get centering right. But every box that gets opened, that's 500 and something cards in each box because they were loading these boxes up. The print run is enormous.
It's
you know
huge,
what I mean?
Yeah.
I read somewhere there was 300,000 boxes printed. Think about that. Like the amount of cards, obviously a lot have been trashed, a lot have been thrown out. Seal boxes, I think, yes, they may stay around what the
Is there hollows in
3,000
the
US
sealed
mark.
box?
There is.
Okay. Is it guaranteed hollows, or is that?
It should be. I'm pretty sure you get at least 3 or 4. It should be. I think maybe 5. But the hollows are so badly printed, centering wise. I've seen some that are off the card. Like it is terrible, and that's why PSA grades so harsh on those, and BGS as well. So be careful. You know what I mean? If you're buying up sets right now, likely that they've been damaged, likely that there are people coming out, like the Pokemon craze, they came out with, I collected that, and they sold it, and they're selling off like that. So be careful. Again, do your research. The 99 set, the seal box, that's still a little bit cheap. Like the pop on that is equally as low, and they're better printed cards, better scented cards.
But just also be mindful, like now that
Be careful.
now that there's a craze now, like how many of these people are literally
that's right.
sending all the cards for grading, and I mean, when it's all said and done, and maybe in 12 months to 16 months, we've seen a lot go through PSA, then we get a better idea of how rare it is to get a PSA 10. That might help the market of Marvel cards when 10s in PSA, and then obviously BGS 95s and whoever's offside send to BGS. I think also CGC could be another player in this. They grade Pokemon cards.
That's a good shout. That's a
That's
great shout.
Yeah, that's a really good shout.
Them grading these, it will help get a better understanding of how difficult it is to get those in a higher grade, even cracking them out of the box. Because I did notice a lot of them are dark edged cards. So, that's difficult, with those dark edges, all very, very prone to damage, as we've seen with, as I've noticed a lot on basketball cards, older basketball cards, and these cards are old. If those boxes weren't kept, stored in a way that's going to preserve the box, and were sort of just there because they were sort of junk at the time, and they just stacked them, and whoever they've stacked them, even there's no guarantee of opening a brand new box that you're going to get mint 10 fresh cards. We've seen that. So I think it's just be mindful and just be wary that now we're probably at a bit of a peak in Marvel market. Maybe there's going to be a bit of tail off interest as something else comes up and peaks, and then if the attention shifts to that, people forget about this. That might be your opportunity to jump in on the Marvel market.
Full transparency, what I would say is when they got too high, I'm out. Sold off, holding one seal just to see where it goes. But when the market is going one way, you got to look the other way. Turn away from it. Take your profits off the table. You know, I'm not going to leave that to see, can I catch the peak? A box sold at $6.5 US. I don't know if that was a real sale. I sold mine almost half of that. I took the money. I don't want to be upset about it. Take the money, get it off the table, and reinvest. And that's the other thing. If you go into Marvel, and this is my I'll leave it with as a tip for everyone that's watching. If you're in Marvel and you love that space, go look at 1994 Marvel Masterpieces and Marvel 1994 Flair, which is their first year. That's actually printed with artists that are really like highly regarded in that space. And someone told me that, and that's why I looked into it. That's why I bought a few boxes of that. Those are regarded as like really high quality graphics. And that's what I'm saying. Zig when everyone's zagging, you know what I mean?
100%. Good
Agreed
advice.
there.
Very, very good advice. We'll definitely have more updates and more discussion around Marvel in future podcasts. I just want to, before we do finish up this episode, Source just touched on CGC. When it comes to Marvel cards, Pokemon cards, Magic cards, any cards really. What are your thoughts on CGC especially that Marvel and Pokemon and Magic, but especially Marvel on topic? They do comic books. Would you have more faith in them grading a Marvel card than any other grading company?
I think they do games as well, yeah, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, they do.
Like games, yeah. You go.
I got a stack of 5 right here that I want to send to them.
All right.
5 1990 and 1991
I'll
cards.
be honest. I'll give you a bit of an insight, listeners, before we do the reveal when Source gets the sub back. We sent a whole bunch of Pokemon cards to CGC.
Oh,
now,
really?
I got back. Now, this is 100% based on if you listen to double coverage or you just watch any of our content. This goes back onto what we've been saying in terms of like, you want to know what the grade is that you get. I'm never going to sell this card. It's in my PC, but I wanted it graded. I've got a base set unlimited Charizard. Now, I wanted to get that graded. I ended up paying, I think it was like $45 for it at the time. It was a card I never had as a kid. I had the Venusaur. I don't have the Blastoise, and I wanted the Charizard, so I paid $50. My uncle actually found it for me at a school market.
Jeez.
He's like, I found it, so I drove down. I did, and this was like in 2015, 2016. So I got it, sent it in. Now I got the grade back. I thought it looked good. The corners are good, whatever. Anyway, it came back a 5.5. Now I'm not upset because Source and I deliberately sent that card to CGC and all those cards to CGC because we know that they grade harsher on that stuff. I'd rather know the true value of my card and its grading compared to then just a handout. But in saying that, I have the subgrade to tell me why I got the 5.5. And I can't stress this enough to people. It was pretty low. I think I couldn't read. I tried to zoom in. I think it was like a 4 surface on one of the subgrades because the holo was a bit scratched.
Yeah.
It was just scratched like as in like.
I know what you mean. The Pokemon, they have that.
Yeah. So I can't stress it enough to people, and I understand. I don't want to harp on it too much, even in this podcast, because we do it a lot about. I'm not going to mention the company, but just equal opportunity amongst different grading companies. And all I'm saying is your money for jam when you grade a card is not always what's trending in the market. It's what you get your value for, whether it be customer service, how you got the grade. So you got subgrades there that tell you how you actually got your grade. So there's an indication on how you got there. And there's a legitimate grading scale that if it's better than a 10, it's like a BGS Black, for example. Or a CGC give the gold label 10, which you will see, like we got a few gold label 10s, which was sick. So Source and I were pretty happy with it. But this is the whole thing. And this is an education. type rant. It's just do your research. It's not always.
Facts.
It's not always. If you're in it for the money, all right, go to you know where. But if you're in it for the money and you go you know where, you're going to wait a year to get your card back. I'm being serious. And what happens?
No,
And as we
100%.
keep saying, what happens in 1 year's time if the value of that card
Sure.
halves or it loses 75% of its value? Then you're kicking yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you got it graded. Yeah.
So
What if-
that's just my take on it.
If we
And what
sent
if
those
P-
same cards to another grading company, the market leader, we would still be waiting. We would still be waiting another good 5 months. Like we got them back. What, Doma, in 3 months? Yeah, just over 3 months. So like it wasn't too bad, but like how long you've sent some out to PSA? You're waiting for how long, Ian?
No comment.
he doesn't want to say.
So he sent it.
It's been a while.
Yeah, when he was in primary school, he sent it.
No, honestly, this is full straight up. Haven't got one PSA. I haven't got one myself graded card back yet.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you don't need
Leave
to
it on that. End it on that.
The thing is,
Work in
what happens
progress.
if PSA isn't that thing in isn't the market leader in
That's
say a year's
that's
time?
always the question.
Well,
Like
the question.
BGS used to be the big thing, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it shifted. Who knows
If,
where it
if
could
we
go?
do want to stick on it for about literally 5 minutes,
Yeah.
we talked about literally, and we keep saying it every podcast, and now we're going to say it in this podcast because Anthony made the comment when people are zigging, you zag. So you look in the other direction sometimes. So Source and I are looking in the other direction of HGA as the example. We're not trying to endorse everyone go grade with HGA, but what we're trying to say is they're the first to implement AI technology. So they're the market leader when it comes to artificial intelligence in grading cards because they're the first. When BGS and PSA come along to do it, and we keep saying this, and we're trying to make people aware, you've got to put it in your brain as a thought. When they grade AI 9s and 10s, does it not devalue the 9s and 10s that came before those AI graded cards? The human element graded 9s and 10s. So you could have 15,000 Lucas out there and 10,000 of them are PSA 10.
Yeah, what happens then?
But if there's 10 PSA 10 AI graded Lucas, I'm pretty sure they're the ones people are going to trust more. They're going to trust the computer
And the
over
human one. Yeah.
So
Feel you there.
you've got to think about this stuff, man. So we're just putting it out there.
I'm not against that. Let me be clear. I'm not against that at all. I listened to that podcast with what's his name, Tyler.
Yeah.
I'm considering it. I'm highly considering sending some off.
I like the color match slab as well.
Yeah, the color match slabs are sick, but it's good to diversify as well. And
Yeah.
But this is the thing where it's kind of lost in terms of that now. It's like there's one way or the highway, and that's not what we want in the hobby because it was never like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, just my whole thing's like if you like a slab and you reckon the card's going to look cool in that slab and you're not in it for the money, and you want it to PC, why don't you go for the slab that makes the card look nice? As Source keeps saying, you're paying for what's behind the slab in the end of the day. Wow. So if it's a color match to a card, I reckon that's pretty sick. Or a CGC looks nice in Pokemon cards or Marvel cards. Why would you go that route? So who knows? Who bloody knows? Anyway, any final comments, gentlemen, before we wrap
I'm good.
up?
That's a good.
I'm good.
That's a good first step.
Good first.
We'll be back next week. We've got more to say.
He's already in his. Good.
We're trying to. For any of our listeners that usually listen on our regular podcast, it goes to around the 2 hour mark. We said we're trying to keep this one to an hour, short, a bit shorter format, and just all hobby talk related, card related, just discussion really, and hopefully people out of this they learn something, they pick up on something, they catch something that one of us says that gets them thinking about ways that they can use their money more wisely to benefit themselves and growing their position in the hobby. So That's our goal out of this crunch time, where we hope that you get some value.
Perfect. Couldn't have summed it up any better, Source. And Luke and Anthony are a part of this podcast, so they're going to be on all the time. We will tag them in the bio when this comes out, and stay tuned for it. But it's been crunch time. Hopefully we came up big in the clutch. It's been Dom, Source, Luke, and Anth. Peace out.
See you boys next week.
Peace out. See you, boys.
Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of